Hello and welcome to Everyday Law, the show that demystifies the law for you and your family. I'm your host, Attorney Robert Monahan, and I'm joined today by Elise Dankers of Waukegan to College and Reina Montes. Reina Montes, yes, who's a parent with a child in Waukegan to College. So we're going to start out just by asking, Elise, if you could start, what is Waukegan to College?
Sure, Bob. Waukegan to College is a not-for-profit working in Waukegan with first-generation college-going students and their families. So we work very closely with the parents and the students to help students pursue a path to and through college.
Okay, and Reina, you actually have a student in the program right now.
Yeah, I got a son. His name is Gabriel, and he started exactly today.
He starts school today. Today's the first day. It's August for us. You'll be watching this in October, yeah, but it's August 23rd today, right?
Yes, yeah. And he was very excited because he's going to his junior year.
His junior year. Mm-hmm. So he's almost in his senior year, and then he'll be off to college.
Yes.
That's exciting stuff. Yeah.
So we were preparing last week about checking, schedules.
Getting everything together.
To see
Me too.
The right classes, for this year. And something I learned in Waukegan to College that we're supposed to check in if he has the right classes.
Waukegan to College is a great program. I grew up in Waukegan, and I've seen it develop in different ways over time. And I think it's a town that used to have a really strong industrial base, but during the deindustrialization that's happened over the last few decades, it's fallen on harder times. Mm-hmm. And I think it needs help, the kind of help that Waukegan to College provides it. And how did you get involved in Waukegan to College, Elise?
So this is going back to before there was a Waukegan to College.
Yeah.
I started hearing about the school systems not too far from my home, okay, and I became really concerned about the youth and their lack of a future, really, and their lack of hope because they weren't being well educated and able to move on to higher paying jobs. And it started to weigh on me, and I, through my church, was able to connect with an organization called Lake County United.
Lake County United, right.
Yeah, and they were just starting to do some research about education because initially they did listening sessions with parents thinking that they would hear about traditional high poverty issues that needed to get fixed, like affordable housing or access to health care. And instead...
Immigration, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And instead, what did you discover? What did the research team discover?
They were worried about education.
Education.
These parents were worried that their kids were not being well educated and not on a path to college and higher paying jobs.
And Reina, do you feel that's accurate, that those survey results, those research results, painted an accurate picture of what parents in Waukegan are most concerned about?
Exactly.
Why is that?
Because, when we emigrate from our countries, we come into this country for the American dream. And the American dream for us is to give our kids better education, more opportunities, job opportunities, better salaries.
And Elise, you got involved with Waukegan to College almost from its inception, is that right?
Right. This organization, Lake County United, was forming a research team to say, okay, we understand what the community wants, more college attainment, how can we help them get there? And so that research team looked at what was already existing in the community so as to not recreate the wheel, and also looked at other college readiness programs to think about best practices.
Okay. And
a blueprint for Waukegan to College was created in that research team.
Interesting. And what did the team think were the most important parts of the blueprint? What were the elements of the blueprint?
Yes, well, the finding about what was not existent in the community was anything to really help parents help their kids be academically successful. And so that became really a cornerstone of Waukegan to College.
That's interesting. What steps did you think were necessary for helping the parents to become better at helping their children succeed?
Well, the real cornerstone of the program is one-on-one advising. So
Okay.
we have a staff of 4.5 people, one is part-time, and they have a caseload of families that they routinely work with to help parents understand how they can be supporting their children to become academically successful. And then we also provide monthly workshops for families to
Right.
give them basic information about what the path to college looks like.
And it was in 2008 that you got a grant that really got the program off the ground. Is that right?
Correct, yeah, we had a very generous grant from Episcopal Charities and Community Services, and it was actually a 3-year grant that gave us kind of the runway to get the program started and
Yeah.
start to build a sustainable organization.
What did the grant allow you to do that you weren't doing before?
Well, we could have staff,
Yeah.
and we could have some funding for materials, and we could build our public image such that eventually we could do broader fundraising.
I see, I see. And were you part of the team that helped get the grant, or was that a different?
The grant kind of was a natural outflow of that research work. The Episcopal Charities was at that time involved with the research and saw the need in the community and really wanted to help change the future, and so they were all bought in by that point.
Okay. And when did you first get involved in the program, Reina?
You know, it was just before Gabriel in 5th grade.
In 5th grade. So I think the program can last from 5th grade all the way to graduation. Is that right?
College graduation.
College graduation.
Right, right.
So he got involved at the very beginning of
In
the
the
program.
beginning.
That's great.
Yeah.
So how did you hear about it to start with?
You know, I'm part of Episcopal Church in Waukegan,
Okay.
Nuestra Señora, and you know, they come into, you know,
They came to speak about
to
it.
speak
Yeah.
about it, and I was looking for something for my son already because you know, I got my daughter, Sasha, that she's 26 right now.
Yeah.
But at that time, we didn't know nothing about this kind of help for the families. As immigrant from Mexico, I didn't know anything about the process of college.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're supposed to start working years before.
Lay the
to-
groundwork.
Yes.
You can't do it in your senior year.
And
Yeah.
that's what happened to me with my daughter. You
With
know,
Sasha?
I say, okay, she's gonna graduate, she's a senior, we're gonna start looking for colleges and make application. But it was too late.
It was too late.
It
So
was too late.
Gabriel got involved early on in
So-
5th grade.
So they're not gonna happen the same thing to me, you know. So I learned my lesson, and I hear about Waukegan to college, and we apply, and thanks God that Gabriel get it in
got
the
in, yeah.
program, and you know, the good thing for me is that the program teach me,
It teaches you.
you know, how I can help my son. So how, you know, the basics that, you know, what is GPA? I didn't know before. What is ACT? You know, the things that we had to focus on it to that my son can be successful in college application.
Yeah, yeah. That's the aim of Waukegan to College, to help families that may not have resources understand a whole system that can be bewildering.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're going to talk about a number of ways that Waukegan to Colleges helps. I think there's about 5, and we'll take a break and come back and talk about them in just a minute, okay? Hi, and welcome back to Everyday Law, the show that demystifies the law for you and your family. I'm here again with Elise Dankers and Reina Montes. We're talking about Waukegan to College, and I forgot to mention that I got involved with Waukegan to College just a little bit when I went to Waukegan High School's library to help a young lady with her college essay. The Bar Foundation, the Lake County Bar Foundation, sent out a little memo asking for volunteers to help students with their college personal essay. And I helped a young lady, and I really enjoyed it. And that's how we met. That's how I met Elise. And thanks again for coming. I forgot to thank you, and I'm a little rusty because I've been off for the summer. But
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
for having us.
We talked a little bit already about how Waukegan to College got started. And I wanted to talk next about what it actually does, the different tasks that Waukegan College actually, the technical ways it helps students develop and actually make their path from 5th grade all the way through college. So I think I wrote down 5 ways. There's advising, there's workshops, coaching and mentoring, tutoring, and experiences outside Waukegan.
Yes.
So the first one is family advising. And can you tell me a little bit about that, Raina, the family advising? We talked a little bit about family advising before, I think. But
Yes, you know, I can give you an example. When my son Gabriel starts 6th grade, you know, I had Hillary as his advisor.
Yeah.
So, you know, always sit down with us and make a plan. What are you gonna be, you know?
For your goals,
for
your goals for the school year.
Set it at the goals.
That's
for
so
the
important
school
in
year.
anything. It's
Yeah.
so important in anything.
Yes, and you know, she always coaching Gabriel. You know, Gabriel, you had to go talk to your teacher when you have trouble with any assignment and ask for more opportunities to redo it or give you another chance to, you know, to do it again. And always, you know, and for me, always Hillary was one of the best ones in the program. And she always say, you had to, you know, watching what he's doing. And she teach me how to go to Campus Infinity, that we can check the grades.
That's very interesting. We talked about that when we spoke earlier at breakfast, that there are systems that the families may not even be aware of, like online grading systems, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And we didn't know. And the problem is, you know, maybe a lot of people say, how these people didn't know? But, you know, we coming from Mexico and from South America, Central America, and it's totally different.
I
It's
understand.
different system. So thanks to Waukegan to College, they're teaching us how this school system works.
Yeah.
And what we need to do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's really important. The goal setting. I think a word might be it helps you enculturate the American education system. It's bewildering for I don't know my son's. It's called Power School in our school district, and I don't. Did you have Power School?
Yes. Yeah.
So we don't really know his password or anything else, but we should. But there's also workshops that Waukegan to College does. And how did they come up with the idea of workshops, Elise?
We just thought it would be a good way to help parents learn together
As a group.
Yeah, and so the workshop topics are pretty much all over the map. It could be College 101.
Yeah.
It could be managing stress.
We all need that, yeah.
We do a survey of parents at the end of the school year and say, hey, what would you like to have as workshop topics next year? And that helps us set the agenda for the following year.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most interesting workshop topic suggestion that you can think of?
Oh gosh.
I'll put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
I think I can tell you the favorite one of parents, hands down,
Yeah.
is the workshop where we all get on buses and go to college campuses. And so
That is a good workshop.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even the 5th grader sees what a dorm room looks like. The parent sets foot on a campus and sees the environment. It's a very powerful experience.
There was a show that I watched a little bit. It was a cops and robbers show called The Wire, and I remember one of the characters who lived in one of the housing projects in Baltimore was a main character, and he was saying, you know, I know there's a world outside this world I live in, but I just don't know how to get there. I don't know how to get out of this world I'm in to another place. And I think taking kids to college to show them what college is like with dorm rooms or you know, the quads or whatever it may be, gives them an idea of what could be possible for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the best parts of Waukegan to College.
Right.
Because my son really enjoy during the summer go to a summer camp.
Right.
Normally he was so excited to go camp to Kansas. Oh my God, you know. He says, Mom, can I stay longer?
Yeah.
I said, we cannot afford it. You know, that's very expensive.
I
camps.
understand.
So, but thanks to Waukegan to College, the kids go to the camps and we don't pay any
That's nice.
penny.
That's nice. Waukegan to college gives me a feeling of optimism, but it also gives me a feeling of a feeling of optimism because you're helping and giving opportunity, but also the youngsters you're helping have it hard, you know. And so it's there's two sides to the coin.
Yeah, and it's much needed, and we're just doing the best we can with the funding we have to serve just under 200 students. Our goal is to keep growing because in the school district there are 17,000 students.
17,000.
And the high school alone is about 4,600 students.
Okay.
So there's a lot of need out there for.
And you also do, in another, to go off topic again, another thing you do is one-on-one coaching or mentoring. When I worked with a young lady at the library on her personal essay, she said she had a one-on-one mentor who worked at Takeda Chemical and was almost like another family member for her.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, the generosity and compassion of people around Lake County wanting to help. And one of the ways they do that is as mentors for our students. And so we pair a volunteer with a high school student. And early on, the goal is to really work on some of the key life skills, maybe time management or goal setting, or how to study for a test. And then they do help us do the heavy lifting of around college applications and scholarships and so forth. And then the goal is for that same person to even stay with the student to see them graduate from college.
That's great. You know, it's mentoring is important, I think, for everyone as we go through life. Maybe as a mother, you may have a mentor. As a lawyer, I have several mentors that have meant a great deal to me. I still do. I still do. When you're coming up, you don't know everything, and there are older people who do seem like they know everything, to me anyway. And to have someone available to call, to answer questions in unusual situations, who's kind of seen it all, or at least seen that before, is so helpful.
Right.
Yeah, at this time, Gabriel, they don't have no mentor, but he always took advantage about tutors.
Yeah.
So,
tutoring is the next thing I wanted to talk about. Yeah.
Gabriel is really good student, but when it's time for a quiz or the finals, his grade always drop a little bit because he don't do so good in quizzes.
Okay.
So we take advantage to the mentor to working with the mentor before the quiz to study, and they got very good results.
Do you know that learning how to learn is a subject in itself? That tutoring teaches you how to learn subjects. It's learning how to learn doesn't come naturally. You know, some people think that just reading the book over and over again might be the way to learn, but studies have shown that quizzing yourself with questions. And trying to bring part of your own experience into what you're learning make it stick much better. You know, so I think tutoring can really help you learn how to learn. It's really important.
Yes, and we have people who come routinely on Saturdays, and some of them are maybe engineers at a local company. And they're taking on AP physics. And then I have other people who are like, I couldn't do math after my kid was in 7th grade, and they're doing language arts or high school lit. And
That's
so
great.
everybody finds kind of their comfort zone of what they want to help with.
That's great. And the last thing, I think we touched on it a little bit, is you take excursions, trips outside of Waukegan. So you might go to a college, but you also might go to a camp, like you said, excuse me, or a workplace to see what is HR. What do adults that work in an office do at their desk all day?
Right.
Are they playing games?
Right. These functions like human resources or accounting, who knew, right? So we help students see what's all possible, and maybe it will spark some interest in a particular student.
That's
and
interesting.
We also take them to various cultural venues, so it could be a play, it could be a museum, just to broaden their horizons.
That's really great, yeah. You know, my dad was the first one in his family to go to college. No one in his family had gone to college before him. And he went to a Catholic high school in Chicago called St. Ignatius. And he said that was where he really got inspired with the idea that he could become a doctor someday. And now he's a doctor. but he feels that it was thanks to the teachers that he had and the support he had in his high school that gave him the idea that he could be a doctor instead of a ditch digger working on a city crew. So that's my family on the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
So your program does the same thing for the people of Waukegan that my dad's high school did for him, and I think that's great, you know.
Thanks. It's a real blessing because you see the potential in these students, and just to give them a little extra help to realize their potential.
Sometimes that's all they need.
Right.
They have it in them, but you need someone to reach in and help them realize it. Yeah. We have to take a break,
Okay.
and then we'll be right back.
Okay.
Hello and welcome back to Everyday Law, the show that demystifies the law for you and your family. I'm here today with Elise Dankers of Waukegan to College and a parent, Reina Montez, a parent of a student in Waukegan to College. And we were talking off the air about Reina's story with her children and how she became a leader in her community. And we're going to get to that in just a minute.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say that on my own story is that we're all, you know, a country of immigrants, and that my people came over in the 19th century during the potato famine in Ireland, okay? And they were coal miners in Maryland. And my great-great-grandfather was told that his son would have to go into the mines and break rocks with a little hammer to pay off his debts to the company store. So in that time, you lived on the company town. You bought your groceries in the company store, and it was like the company owned you.
Yeah.
So they ran away to Chicago and got jobs in Chicago on the south side of Chicago and grew up there. And over time, got education. And now my dad's a doctor and I'm a lawyer. And that's the American dream. That's the American dream. That's what America. That's the idea of America. And you came from Mexico.
Yes, I came from Mexico in 1992.
Okay.
And, you know, I got my daughter with me.
Sasha.
So, Sasha.
Yeah.
And, you know, when she started elementary school, I'm really, really passionate about education.
Yeah.
You know, for me, coming to United States is to offer my kids better opportunities. And to get out from the poverty, I always believe that education is the key.
Yeah.
So, you know, I always pay attention about homeworks, about reading with my kids. And, you know, living in Waukegan, I have questions.
Yeah.
I always go to teacher, principal, why we don't do it this way, why we don't try something
Did you feel
different.
they needed to challenge your children more, to be more?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So you always were looking for more for your children?
Yes, I was looking to see if my daughter can be an advanced program, you know, that they can challenge a little more.
And then, so you always had it in you to be a leader and to look for the education for your children, and then you found support in Waukegan to College.
Yeah, you know, because from the beginning, when my daughter started school, I started asking questions. And many times, you know, I show up in the school to talk to the principal, and sometimes, yes, ignoring me. And I know a lot of my peers, you know, they had the same problem.
Sure.
When they go to schools, they ignoring the parents because are Latinos, because they don't speak English, they, you know, and I feel alone.
Yeah.
When I go ask question, I feel that what am I gonna do, you know? But when I found Waukegan to College, you know, I feel empowered.
Yeah.
I feel the support, and I feel that they can do more. You know?
I talked to Elise at breakfast before the show a week ago, and she said one thing they try to encourage the parents to do is take initiative and know that you have responsibility, like you know, for your children's education.
Yes.
And so you can address the principal, and you can go talk to the administrators and tell them your concerns, and insist that they listen. And I think that Waukegan to College helps inspire the community with confidence.
Yes, exactly. You know, because by the time that, you know, in this time that I go to the school meetings or I go to the Lincoln Center, people listen what I say.
Yeah, now it's different. Well,
And-
now you've run for school board.
Yeah.
Now you've run for school board.
Yes.
How did you decide to run for the school board?
With the support and encouragement from Waukegan to college.
That's great. That's great.
So they believed in me that I can do it. So, and I ran for the school board because I want to have the power to take decisions over our kids' education.
I think that's great. So you always had it in you to be a leader, but with the support of Waukegan to College, you've really kind of become a leader in the community.
Yes.
And I think it's a great organization. I really admired it. As soon as I started helping Jaslyn at the library, and she was so smart and had such a good essay. And you know, when I met her and I talked to her, I felt she was coming from a place between you and me that was not that different from where my family came from. Not too long ago, not too many generations back, our family struggled to get an education too. And so I think we had that in common, and I enjoyed helping her, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show. And you have a couple things coming up that I think are important to talk about before we have to close up. So go ahead, Elise.
Thank you, Bob. Well, first off, I would invite everyone to consider being a volunteer. We have compassionate volunteers like you who come in and help out at a one-time thing like application boot camp. We have regular Saturday tutoring. We have a reading program, and then the mentoring, all of which are very rewarding.
I feel like I should be taking notes, but I'll be able to post this on the screen. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And I often hear from volunteers that they feel like they get more out of it than they put in.
Do you know, I went home and my kids were on their computer games, and I told them, do you know what opportunities you're wasting today? I mean, I just spent an hour and a half with a young lady who made the most out of limited opportunities, and you guys get off your video games and read a book. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
And then, as founding director, hard for me to believe, but we are coming up on our 10th anniversary. And
Okay.
so
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. October 20th, we're having a party at Glenflora Country Club, and we would love everyone to join us to celebrate 10 years of success. 45 first-generation college graduates coming out of our program.
That's outstanding.
And a core of terrific parents who now are going to be taking what they've learned with Waukegan to College out to their communities, whether it be a church group, a soccer club, the library. They're going to share the knowledge that they've gained.
Raina's really an ambassador now for the program.
Yes.
I mean, you're an ambassador for the program. You're an ambassador for the program. It's been great to have you both on. I want to thank you for coming. We have to end now, but I'd like to have you back someday, and maybe when your son graduates, we can celebrate together.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, thank you again for
Thank
coming.
you so much.
Thank you. For the
You've been watching
invitation.
Everyday Law with me, Bob Monahan. Everybody have a good night.